Welcome to Gobster's new video. Be warned, his views and opinions are of his own and may cause offense. If it does, he doesn't care. Over to you, Gobster.
Well, hello you gorgeous mother truckers, you, and welcome to another video. Right then, so Islamophobia. I've done many videos on this, about this absolutely massively made up name to protect one section of society, the Muslims, from criticism of any kind, and at the detriment of everybody else, because they are now the protected group. Remember, just after Southport, Keir Starmer, our wonderful dictator, went, "Don't worry to our Muslim communities, don't worry, we'll protect you." And they're going out of their way to do this. But then again, their party is full of Muslims and people who just have to bend the knee, because no one could just turn around to these guys and girls and just go, "No, fuck you, not going to happen." So they're working on a definition of Islamophobia, which is blasphemy laws being brought in via the back door. You can't have that if you can't have everybody else. This is just because Muslims don't like people pointing out what a bunch of nasty, horrible things that they actually are. They're really not nice. So let's bring this up. Bring it down a bit. There you go. So the all-party group on British Muslims' definition of Islamophobia. Let's quickly read through it. The all-party parliamentary group, the APPG, on British Muslims. There's no such thing. If they want their way of life and they don't want to abide by the system, they are just Muslims. They're not British. Which is why I don't call myself British anymore. I'm English. Was established on the 18th of July 2017 to build on the work of the APPG on Islamophobia, but with a wider remit to examine a broad range of issues that Muslims care about and are affected by. So this is all about them being offended, nothing else. The APPGs are comprised of members of both the House of Commons and House of Lords. They are an informal cross-party group that have no official status within Parliament, except, of course, now they're going to be done to bring it into law, and are not according to any powers by Parliament, its committees, and independent of government, except the government are now using them. The following 2 years consultation on the 7th of November 2018, the APPG on Muslims published a report entitled Islamophobia, Define the Inquiry into Working Definition of Islamophobia. There isn't one. We're not scared of you, we just don't want you here. You're all entitled to have your religion, but you'll fucking do as you're told in this country, like we would if we went to yours. Although, of course, if we all went to yours, it'd be a much better country. This report contains the following definition. Islamophobia is rooted in racism, and it's a type of racism that targets expressions of Muslimness or perceived Muslimness. Right, for one, Muslims is a religion, not a race. Racism is based on the persecution of somebody on their race, not their religion. So you can't say it's racism when it isn't. That's and again, we've had it many years. People like Peter Hitchens have been trying to tell you for years before that once they start using the word Islamophobia, you're screwed. Contemporary examples of Islamophobia in public life, the media, schools, the workplace, encounters between religions and non-religions in public sphere could, taking into account overall context, include, but are not limited to, calling for, aiding, instigating, or justifying the killing or harming of Muslims in the name of a racist, fascist ideologies or extremist view of religion. No, they're already covered under laws any case. Making mendacious, dehumanising, demonising or stereotypical allegations about Muslims such, or Muslims as a collective group such as, especially but not exclusively, conspiracy about Muslims' entryism into politics. It's not a conspiracy theory. There are Muslims in Labour right now, and there are also 5 MPs who come in on a Gaza thing, so no, that is a lie. The myth about Muslims' identity having a unique propensity to terrorism. Well, yeah, statistically, it is you lot. The claims of a demographic threat posed by Muslims or a Muslim takeover, which is exactly what is happening. So, in other words, please deny this new law, and Islamophobia denies facts, denies actual reality, and if you quote that, you'd be arrested. Even though stats and history and stuff tells you otherwise. According to Muslims, accusing Muslims as a group being responsible for real or imaginary wrongdoings committed by a single Muslim person or Muslim individuals or even acts committed by non-Muslims. Right then, so that's fine and that's true. You shouldn't tar everybody with the same brush, except of course when one of your lot does do something, you don't say fuck all. Complete silence. And I'm afraid that if you aren't going to say out and you're not going to speak out, just like the grooming gangs where the mothers and the other family members knew what they were doing and didn't say anything, you are complicit. Being silent in something makes you complicit. So, no. So basically, you can't say, even if a Muslim does it, you can't say anything. You can't say that was a Muslim. Utter shite. Accusing Muslims as a group and the Muslim majority states of inventing or exaggerating Islamophobia, ethnic cleansing or genocide perpetrated by Muslims. I will point you to Africa where Muslims are slaughtering Christians at a biblical stage. I mean, no one cares in this country, but they are slaughtering Christians all over the world. But no, you can't say that. Please just deny facts and evidence. Just, you're being nasty to us. Accusing Muslim citizens of being more loyal to the Ummah, translation of the Muslim community. Yes, you are. I've actually just put a video up recently where you actually turn around and say you don't accept the system that you live under. So that's a load of bullshit. All countries of origin want to allege priorities of Muslims worldwide, the interests of their own nations. They have no interest in this nation whatsoever other than to take it over. Again, this is denial of facts, suppression of free speech, and denial of actual facts of something that actually is true. There are hundreds of videos, and because of that, I'm now going to start finding them and showing them where Muslim clerics and preachers and imams are exactly saying exactly what you screaming that you doesn't exist. Denying Muslim population the right to self-determination by claiming the existence of an independent Palestine or Kashmir as a terrorist endeavour. It is. If you don't like it, fuck off. It's as simple as that. Applying double standards by requiring of Muslims behaviours that are not expected or demanded of any other groups of society, e.g. loyalty tests, e.g. moaning when people are eating because you're on no, it works the other way, but it doesn't, so you're full of shit again. Using symbols and images associated with classic Islamophobia, e.g. Muhammad being a paedophile, he was, claims of Muslims spreading Islam by the sword or subjugating minority groups under their rule. It's in your fucking book. Your book of the Quran actually tells you to do that. Characterises Muslims as sex groomers, inherently violent, incapable of living harmlessly in Pura. You did, predominantly, it was Muslim Pakistani men who did do the grooming gangs and the raping and still are. And you don't want to live harmoniously when you've got your imams saying we don't accept the society we live in and we can't wait to take it over. Holding Muslims collectively responsible for the actions of any Muslim majority state, whether secular or constitutionally Islamic, which are the ones that we can't hold you for. Oh no, because that's unfair, but that's the ones that you fill our streets with, screaming and shouting about. The hypocrisy is biblical. Absolutely unbelievable. So this is the bullshittery of this idea. This is the crushing of freedom of speech. This is making sure that if a Muslim does anything, you cannot say anything, even if all the facts and evidence and history and everything, even their own stupid religious book tells you this. That doesn't happen. It's non-existent. You're full of crap. This should never be allowed in this country. Of course it's going to be allowed because the Labour will push it through. And then I guess I shall look forward to going to prison. Even if it's not more dangerous enough as it is, that could happen. And then we get things like this, where it says, the output and remit, the purpose of the anti-Muslim hatred/Islamophobia definition working group is to provide advice to the Deputy Prime Minister and Secretary of State for Housing and Communities and Local Government. That's Angela Rayner, who on one of the videos I did earlier on is begging Muslims to vote for her. So this is what it's all been done. On appropriate and sensitive language to describe, understand and define unacceptable treatment, prejudice, discrimination and hatred targeting Muslims or anyone who's perceived to be Muslim. This should be including advice regarding the merits of government not adopting a non-statutory definition of unacceptable treatment of Muslims and anyone perceived to be, including what a proposed definition should be. No, fuck you, no. Everybody else can have the shit taken out of them, but not you lot. Fuck off. The group's proposed definition will be non-statutory and will provide the government and other relevant bodies an understanding of unacceptable treatment and prejudice against the Muslim communities. Any proposed definition must be compatible with the unchanging right to British citizens to exercise their freedom of speech and expression, which includes the right to criticise, express dislike of, or insult religions and or beliefs and practices of adherence. So basically, you go on all about all the stuff that I've covered and then turn around, but it can't impinge. So basically, that bit that's underlined there that I've just read out, yeah, basically means that what you're talking about is absolute, complete, and utter bollocks. Because any of that you bring in completely suppresses freedom of speech, expression, the right to criticise, the right to express dislike, the right to insult religions and or beliefs or practices. So you want a law and a definition that prevents that, but you also want it so it doesn't impinge on that. So in other words, it's an exercise in fucking futility. It's just bullshit. The group will make evidence-based recommendations for ministers to consider. All advice provided by the group will be private for ministers and will not be made public. So they'll tell everybody else, but not you or I. It's not going to be made public. So we want all these things to make sure that we can't be spoken about, but we also need to make sure it doesn't crush on people's freedom of speech. Well, it does, doesn't it? So withdraw your fucking stupid shite. There is no such thing as Islamophobia. It's not racist. It's just made up. If you're going to turn around and say we're going to do all this, but it can't impinge, and it says here, remember, that it will any proposed definition must be compatible with the unchanged right of British citizens to exercise freedom of speech and expression, which includes the right to criticise, express dislike of, or insult religions and or beliefs and practices, which is what people are doing, and you call it Islamophobia. You literally haven't got a fucking clue, have you? You just haven't. What you're doing is just pushing dominance on. You're just making we're important. We've got a definition. If you don't like what's been said to you, we as Christians take a fucking abuse from everybody. Yeah? We're not allowed to preach on the streets because we get arrested, but you lot can flood the streets and pray and bring chaos to everything because that's okay. No, one rule for one rule for the other. If I can't do it, you can't do it. And if you can do it, I can do it. Two-tier justice, two-tier society, and then to come out with this big, huge thing, we're going to have a definition of Islamophobia. We're not going to tell you what the recommendations are, but apparently it's not to impinge on your freedom of speech. So you're wasting your fucking time. And how much is this going to cost? But we know what will actually happen is the freedom of speech and all the other bits that I've read out won't matter because you've got to lock people up. Yes, Captain Meow. Captain Meow agrees. Don't you? See? Any case, 2 videos coming up. One will be the last one uploaded. The other one will be the one the gods of YouTube have chose for you. They'll be up on one side of the screen. The other side of the screen, if you agree with what I'm doing, you like what I'm doing, you can click on that and it will hit the subscribe. You can hit the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to ding that bell, set it to all, and make sure you've done it on your mobile if you've got it on your mobile device, because apparently that stops it. You can like, you can share, you can really have a go at trying to put a comment in, but YouTube are deleting everybody. So, gobstertalks@yahoo.com is an email address where you can let me know what you think there, and we can try and beat the system like that. Ways to support the channel down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm done. So, until the next one.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like and share. If you agree with him, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Until the next one.